back to Unleashing. I'm your host, Jared Beeler. My ban on YouTube should be up now, so I should be able to post a video here. It's getting harder and harder to do that or talk about anything. The more guidelines just keep coming out, protecting elites, government officials, anything you want to discuss or talk about, or anything that puts them in a bad limelight is being implemented. And at least over on Rumble and some of the other channels that have popped up because of the censorship, it's made it possible to still post some things. So you guys know the reason that I got another strike and I wasn't able to post. Then I put it in a comment, and it's in a couple different places and try and let you guys know exactly what was going on. But it was because of my Antichrist video that I made. Too much detail, too much backstory on Barry Soetoro, and anyways, they blocked it, took it down, and gave me a strike. There was no warning or anything like that, and after looking at their guidelines, the reason why is because you cannot talk about anybody maliciously that they deem anyways, and if it's for educational purposes or historical purposes, they will overlook it unless it's a political figure, somebody that they think is of high interest, and then they'll shut it down again. You can see the correlation between that and communist China, but we know who's taking over control of the whole situation. So anyways, talking about things is getting more difficult, but anyways, if you guys ever did catch that video, the Antichrist Origins, you can still find it on Rumble or on Brighteon, so you can check it out over there. But anyways, I just wanted to come on today and let you guys know that for right now anyways, I can make videos again on YouTube, so I'm going to keep talking. Okay, but here we go. Friday the 13th. It's been a year since I heard from God. That's most definitely this year, alright? And it's Friday the 13th today, and it's exciting. Do I think he's coming back today? No, I don't. Do I think that it's soon and this year? Yes, I do. But the situation still does not look exactly like it's supposed to. And I just kind of wanted to talk about that for a second. Grab this Heart Rock here that I got. I've talked about this story with so many people now and shared it with so many people in the past year. It's unbelievable. You guys have all seen the picture, of the rock and everything. And then exactly what happened 31 days later with my brother and his story. If it was just me, you might call it a rare coincidence. But for the same thing within the same family to happen within 30-day time period, there's definitely something to it, and I'm holding God to it and to His Word. And the best way that I can understand any mistakes or any mistranslations, that is always going to be on the human part or on my part. God does not lie, or He doesn't mess up. So any mess up in any areas will always fall on me. But to the best of my ability and the best of my memory and the way that I've said it, because I said it fairly fast, within like a week or so after I was told, I've shared everything the best that I could. So anyways, but through the past year, watching the time, what he meant by that, what happened within Rosh Hashanah last year, would it be our Gregorian calendar, and then we bump up to April 2nd, on this one. Now it's to a year timeline today, and yet there's still another one that it could fall in. And of course, this is the one that I'm looking at. And thank you to the person that wrote in it and pointed this out. But on May 13th last year, it fell into the Jewish third month from their religious calendar, Sivan, and it was Sivan 2nd. And this year, on the Jewish calendar, Sivan 2nd falls on June 1st. So anybody who's had dreams and stuff about that, about a significance of June 1st, including my sister, I find that very interesting as well, because that's lining up to the same day. And then, of course, a couple weeks or about a week ago, I discovered that Sivan 2nd, after looking at it, also plays a correlation to before God showed up on Mount Sinai in Exodus, and Sivan 2nd was the day that Israel was told to prepare themselves to be kings and priests or whatever for God, because He was about to show up, which commemorates Pentecost, which happens like 5 days later. And June 1st will be just like that, because I think on June 5th is Pentecost. And the whole point of that being is, what are the chances, right? If this was all, just random guessing or anything like that, for it to also fall on the same day without me even knowing it, when Israel was told to prepare themselves to be, priests and kings because God was about to show up. and that's the day that I get told. It's most definitely this year. There's no coincidence in that at all. It's blowing my mind. And like I say, when God talks about stuff, it's amazing how it's like a wellspring that just keeps bringing out more information over time. It's truly amazing. So June 1st will be marking that. That's as far as I can possibly think that we'll go to. Do I think that'll be that? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I, lean more towards Pentecost. I have for a while. But God can do anything that He wants. And it very well might happen before Pentecost or on it, but that would be June 5th on Pentecost. What about the part where God tells me right after that, it's sooner than you think? How does that play into all this, right? I think that saying, and I have for a while, has a dimensional property to it, because every single time that I start to think, do I have something wrong here? Could it be possible this could go on for a longer period of time? Are we looking way too soon in the future? No, the way things are. And any time that I start to put it so it's 7 more years off or some crazy crap, right, that isn't reality, that is when I'm reminded each time it's sooner than you think. And I think that's exactly what that stood for, and I didn't understand it at the time. It was something that had to take place in the future. But God can do that. He can have those conversations where it doesn't unfold until some time later. And He's the only one that can. It's pretty awesome. But I do think that it's happening this year, totally for our English conversation here that we're having, as in this year. I do think that it's happening this year. The elites want to have their plan to go forward. You know what I'm talking about? 500 million people in 8 more years, okay? And they've already pulled the trigger on it with what, and it's taking place. And they're not turning back from it, nor can they turn back from it. They have to keep executing the plan. Once that trigger was pulled, it has to step forward. They have to keep doing it, and they're doing just that. Of course, in 8 years, all right, that would wipe out everything that is spoken of in Revelation, because there would be nobody left on the planet. Of course, if you go through the events, what their agenda is, the things that take place, it correspondingly lays over to Revelation perfectly, without all the stuff, including, planet systems coming through and things like that, which they don't control or anything like that. But for their agenda-wise, it lays over perfectly, and we can see now that we're in that time, as well as a Shemitah year or whatever, where this is going to line up with the 7-year plan. I absolutely do think that it is taking place this year. As all we can do is keep looking and waiting or whatever. But we're looking and seeing that it can't get much worse. It really is right at the breaking point. We can see fundamental, absolute collapse here, especially in America, as well as the rest of the world, but with prices of things just skyrocketing and them purposely crashing food production, as well as, baby formulas and fuel prices and everything else. Everything they can to bring in what the third horseman represents and stuff like that, while, war is just brewing all over the place to be taking place, and while UN and other members are begging for a one world leader and one world government to take over. While they're doing that, they're putting people who say that they believe in a one world government, or that the government's planning to do that, under conspiracy theorists and terrorism, while they're literally saying what they're doing over the news, that they're doing just that, and that's what they want to do. It's such oxymoron, hypocrisy. It's just absolutely unbelievable. And somehow they get away with it. It just blows my mind. But they control all these different media outlets and stuff, and they can do all that. It's very disturbing. But no, I don't think time's going to be going on any longer. I talked about in the last video that I was able to post on Rumble, so if you guys caught that, good for you, If not, you can always check it out over there. But I got to speak a little bit more freely, because I couldn't post a video on YouTube or anything like that. But we can see where all this is going and what's happening and stuff. And there really is no more time in any of this, because it's literally unfolding right now, like I say. And those that we've all been through a test, especially this last year. I've never seen trials like this. We've all almost been separated and segregated into different groups and categories on who would pass, who wouldn't, And it's no joke, no matter what I've done, no matter what I've talked about, no matter how many people I try to reach or plead with them, nothing has ever changed that vision. Everything that I would do or could do is still leading up to the point that I only saw 8 people shooting up in the distance, right, in those areas. And it goes to show that the numbers that we're looking at here, not counting unborn children or anything like that, but just what I saw, which I'm counting, accounts for, adults. is half of 1%, all right? Very, very small numbers compared to the world's population and stuff like that. People aren't ready. They're not looking. Most of them want to backtrack. They think that things are getting better. Things are going to open back up. Everything's a deception. Meanwhile, they're coming together this week for a new forum on the whole COVID thing and seeing what they can do with getting the whole world, and they're still pushing for that, right? Even if they don't see it, even if everybody's like, oh, what's the point now, right? They're still pushing for it. It's because it's a completely other agenda, which we know what they're trying to do and what they're planning with it. But anyways, like I say, it's moving forward and nothing's stopping. And certain people that have been out of the spotlight are starting to come back in, hint, hint, if you know what I'm talking about, to take their place and to look good. They have to keep them out of the way for the time being, and the reason why is because while bad stuff is going on, you don't want to have the world's population correlate bad things or things that have been happening with a person that's also on the scene. So you keep them out while you run your bad stuff scenarios and chaos, and then when you're ready to bring in the good, then you bring in your planned guy, and then he doesn't look like he has any filth on him or he was a part of it. He was just, off doing other things, which was actually working behind the scenes to make all that stuff happen in the first place. But that's something you guys probably already know anyways. But anyways, I found out about a month ago that the lake here, which I saw, which was full in my vision, they're filling up earlier this year. Usually doesn't get filled up until the midpoint of June 15th-ish. But this year they had a lot of runoff in water, and they decided for tourism and other reasons and stuff like that, they were going to let the lake fill up sooner. So they expect it to be completely full by Memorial Day, which will be a couple days before June 1st. Another thing that, caught my attention, like, wow, what do you know? For this year, at the same time that we're looking at, which would mark a year time or anything else of on second, the lake's also going to be full, where normally it wouldn't be. It would be 15 days after that, and that just happens to line up with it too. There's so many things when I'm like, you're just about to be like, okay, God, I'm about to give up on this whole thing, and then something else gets brought up, and it's like, okay, I can't. Just keep hanging in there, and of course I have. It's been 8 years now since my whole Crazy Adventure Crusade took off, and I expected things so much sooner before. And I've said that. I've been so open about it the whole time. Each year I expect it to go down, and it just pushes. It pushes. Do I think it's going to push anymore? I said the same thing every single year. No, I don't. And then somehow we do. Do I think it's going to push any further this year? No, I don't. I don't think it's going to go any further. I don't see how it possibly can. Could it? Who knows? But I don't see that happening, and especially with what God told me, and I believe it. I believe it 100%. He said what he told me, and like I say, nothing was made up in any of that. It's all a reality. So I expect him that he's going to deliver. He's never told me anything before that didn't come to pass, even when I didn't want it to happen. It still happened exactly the same way. So, I don't expect anything different with this. I don't understand always his ways or anything like that, but just like I saw and just like my brother had happened to him as well. I mean, we were given a confirmation, a big one, on the most incredible event ever, which is going to be us getting blasted out of here and taken to heaven. So I look forward to it very, very soon, and I don't think it's going to be much longer. It can't be, not the way that things are going and stuff like that. There's just not enough. There's no way that it can. I mean, just look at the way things are. I mean, literally, it could snap at a second's notice right now. Especially, I mean, just look at the war stuff that's happening. There's been so many warnings and threats. And like I say, they have a plan, but it's the world's population that needs to have the backstory. Well, it can't just happen out of nowhere. Why would he just attack for no reason, right? You have to have the backstory. There was warning between this. The country wouldn't listen. They kept supplying arms for our own safety. We have no choice. Please don't do it. We'll have to use nukes. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. No, no, no. And then when you look back, oh my gosh, if we would have just listened, now if we can all come together in a world peace treaty, okay? They do it. It's the proverbial courtroom. The same situation. I'm dealing with a satanic Masonic judge. The judge knows I'm a good guy that's a Christian. They got to get me out of the picture because they know I'm a vigilante, all right? So they're using anything they can, which just happens to be a guy's pinky finger getting scratch. Well, the jury goes, what the hell is going on, and why is this guy even in here, right? It's the proverbial courtroom. That's what's happening right now. So all the warnings, everything taking place, it's something they're already going to do, and it's going to take place. You need the backstory, all right? You always need the backstory because the whole goal is to keep the population in question do not have a clue what's going on, so that they don't rise up and everything else, at least until you can get the numbers down where you need them to be controlled. And at that point, you can come forward with your agenda, and it doesn't matter because you overpower them, you outnumber them, and they're completely under your thumb from that point on, which is what they want to do. I do enjoy talking like this when I don't have a script or a certain thing I want to talk about that has to go into, a bunch of different things. It is nice to just try to talk openly, and I just want you guys to know I'm going through it too, right? Nobody's above this, not the tests or anything else, and everybody's in their own test and phase and hardship that they're going through. I gotta say, this last bit of the year here that we've been in has been one of the worst that I've been through for trials and stuff like that. I've been hit pretty good with one, and it was a pretty big hit on my part on some stuff that I've had to deal with in my personal life and things, and it hasn't been easy at all. And I've really had a hard time trying to get back up on my feet on this one. It caught me by surprise, and it just goes to show you I don't stand outside of any of these tests, and of course, all of them have been, to see if they're going to break us down, if we're going to walk away, be like, oh, God, if it's this bad, I don't have anything to do with you or anything like that. And those that do love the Lord know that there's nothing, no matter what you go through, no matter what hardship, you never turn away. You always honor Him the absolute best that you can, and keep continuing on the journey, whether it's sunny out or raining out, and that's exactly what we need to do. So many people, though, that have talked a big game and, talked to their great Christian walk have fallen away from hardship and everything else. They've just turned their back on God. They don't want to have anything to do with it anymore because the real walk is not always easy. And it's a journey. It can be very difficult. And this past year has tested people like never before. Like I say, there's been so much separation and things like that. Everybody's been put into categories of those who still need to go through training to have their will broken in the tribulation, and those that are still hanging in there, even if they've fallen a million times, are still getting up, repenting, and continuing on, and who will be counted worthy by God, by His decision alone, to make it in the rapture and get the heck out of here before things get explosively bad, which will happen imminently. So we're not separate on that. Every single one of us is going through it, and it's no different for me either. It's been a heck of a year, just this starting year, as well as last year and stuff like that. It hasn't gotten any easier. It's just gotten harder as we have made our way towards it. There's a groaning. The whole world, aches for the Lord's return. Those that are looking for Him and stuff like that. While the world's getting more evil and completely oblivious to what's about to happen, those that are looking for the Lord and know end-time scripture and stuff can see exactly what's taking place. People are looking for wealth and trying to build their net worth in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, not even realizing that they're putting their own noose and cannonball with ball and chain around their ankle in the open sea. The more that you make, the harder it is to give up when they tell you, hey, you can't keep that anymore because we're going over into a digital currency system, which you have, but you won't be allowed to use it unless you don't put a little something in your right hand or your forehead and take part of that system. And because they have so much, it'll be harder to resist or turn away from it. So to build yourself up in that, to be making money and things like that in a system that's going to roll over to what the Antichrist controls, you're only making it the weight heavier for you to turn around or to try and swim with if you have to. That's why I don't have anything to do with that stuff, and I don't care. I'm looking for the real prize, which is to get out of here and go be with the Lord, where none of that's going to matter. I think about it all the time, exactly what I was told, blasting up the only two things: you'll never have to worry about a worthless job ever again, and you'll never have to worry about financial issues ever again. And those are two things on my journey in life that have plagued me as I've been worked into different worthless jobs, which have paid bills and kept me going in certain areas, but never my true love, which is glorious combat, which is what I was born for, and God has a place for me, and hopefully gets to be used here soon. And of course, the financial struggle that goes along with it, of never having enough, and dealing with nonsense, which is just stupid. But but it's going to be over soon, and it, I think about that all the time. It keeps me going because it ain't going to last much longer. We're going to step into the real life, and financial issues and stuff are going to be a thing of the distant past that don't even matter anymore. And those hardships and stresses they're never going to plague us again. For those that are with God, that are His children, and that's an exciting thing to think about, especially for the guys that listen to me. I know women deal with it too and stuff like that, but there's nothing more difficult than a guy in our minds when we're busting our ass, and you're doing what you can, and it seems like it's never enough, and you're constantly hit with that, that plague of financial struggle and stuff. And for those that love the Lord, that's going to be a distant past here real soon. It's not even going to matter. We're going to a place where the streets are paved with gold. Money's absolutely nothing for our Master and King, and like I say, we're going to be family members of it. There's never going to be an issue ever again. Things will never be the same, and it's exciting to think about that we can leave all this nonsense behind, because it's been hell. It's been absolute torture, and it reminds me of that saying, for those that love the Lord, this is the worst it'll ever be, and for those that don't, this is the best it'll ever be for them, because it's about to get a whole lot worse for them. For us, this is our trial, this is our staging point, this is our test that we're going through, a refinement process, and it is sucky, it is the worst that we're going through right now, but it'll pass, and when it does, it's going to get really good, really fast, and we can all look forward to that, and think about it all the time. It's going to be amazing, but I didn't really have too much to say other than, a little bit of encouragement. Come on here, let you guys know what the whole situation was. They blocked me on my Antichrist video with no warning. I had no idea that one was going to get taken down, especially when I didn't talk about any of this or any other stuff like that. So they're obviously protecting their precious O, and trying to keep him, looking good in the light, because he's going to be coming back out on the scene here soon enough. That's what happened anyway. Strike's up now, or not the strike, but the ban's up, so I can post. And then the strike I had for talking about morgue issues back in February, that gets up on May 14th, which will be tomorrow, so I'll be back down to one strike. But it's getting harder and harder to talk on here. It really is. You can barely say anything. It's just ridiculous, and I can't stand beating around the bush either and trying to keep stuff hidden in words and symbolism and stuff like that. I'd rather just speak normally, and you just don't get to do that anymore. They've blocked free speech so much, it's unbelievable, and of course it's only going to get worse. But time's going to be up here real soon. I know it for a fact. I can feel it inside of me, all right? And whatever day that He decides to do it, it belongs to Him. We don't control that or anything like that. But I know that it's soon. It's unfathomably soon. It really is going to happen. And those that have looked, prayed, asked Him, there's nothing different in what you've been told as well. It's the same thing. It's unfathomably close to happening. He's at the door, and He's about to come and change everything in an absolute second, and it's going to be so incredible. So be encouraged with that, and know that it's almost up. I look every day, I wait, I pray every day that it's going to happen, and I've gone through the same struggles as everybody else. It hasn't been easy. It really hasn't. I'm still dealing with trials and stuff like that, and I wish I could say I was perfect or made it through everything, but I don't. I've made it through tons of stuff in life, and I have a trail of sin and things that I've left in my past, and it's great to look back and see how far that I've come, but not everything hasn't been completely done away with, and I wish that it would, and it's a continuing battle that we all face, and we're all at different stages and stuff like that, so nobody's being beat down in that area. We're all in it. The point is that you just continue to get back up every single time, dust yourself off, ask for forgiveness, and keep moving forward, and learn from our lessons and stuff as we do it. But it's in that attitude, it's in that place that, just like God told me last year, He's like, it's because you do that, it's because you keep getting back up and repenting. He's like, when I come and I get you, that will be counted as past, because you kept up the fight, you kept doing what you were supposed to, even though you're messing up in the different areas that you struggle with. If you're repenting, you're getting back up, you're continuing to do that, I'll count it as past. And the reason why is because, just like anything that you've passed before, it's a distant memory now. and we'll never completely get all of it done with on our journey. And since God comes at a time that's just going to split time in half when he gets us, many of us are still in those fights. So the point is, are you still fighting to do it, to be done with it? And if you are, and you're in the middle of getting back up, repenting, he knows the heart, then he'll count it as passed. Because if time were to continue on, you would pass it, all right? And that's the reason why. And let that be some encouragement for those that are struggling with different things, because I know we all are, all right? But he is coming soon, all right? So hold on to that and keep looking up. He is about to rip the sky open, and it's not going to be any longer. It just isn't. Time is up, and I know it's hard to grasp and really hold on to. I understand that. We're talking about something that seems almost fabulistic, right? Because it's never happened before. It hasn't been seen, other than the people that have had the vision like me, which is rare. To actually feel or know it, it's just talked about, and it's been talked about for a couple thousand years. What will it be like? So it's hard to actually grasp it. Can it be real? It almost feels like just a daydream, a fantasy of something that would be nice to happen, but it isn't. It's a reality, and it's going to be more than nice when it does happen, and it is going to. And don't think that you're alone in this, because we all feel that way. And the reason why is because so many out there that call themselves Christians and other people don't even believe in it. They're not looking for it. They don't even want it to happen. So the very few, the half of 1% that are such small numbers, you can't talk to them all the time or hear them. So you stand alone. And when you stand alone like that, you start to ask yourself, am I crazy to believe this? Is it reality? Is it really going to happen? I'm here to encourage you. Yes, it is. All right. Even if you stand alone, even by yourself. All right. When you come together and you're listening to me talk or whatever, I'm going to tell you that. Okay. And the one nice thing about me, is when you're listening to me, that I'm not going to be like, well, 1,000 years is like a day to God. So, I say that it's coming soon, but what do we know about time? It could still be 1,000 years off. That bull crap that is so annoying to hear when you're listening to anybody else other than me. No, that's a bunch of crap. All right. He's coming now. All right. It's not thousands of years off. It's exactly what he said. It's exactly what he meant. All right. So hold on to that. Okay. I'm telling you the truth. He's about to rip the sky open. Keep looking up. Keep walking with him. It's going to be glorious. All right. God bless. I'll catch you in somebody unleashing. All right. If I'm not completely banned from there, if I am, go to Rumble or something and find me, because I'll still try to talk. All right. God bless. Catch you later. Bye.